farmer, take credit away from the farmer towards middle class consumption. I covered suicides of farmers who could not get loans of $80 okay, for their crop loan, accepted exorbitant rates of interest. Then I went back to my middle class existence in Mumbai, where my bank offers me buy Mercedes-Benz at 6% interest, no collateral required. This was 2004. Now, of course, the whole game has collapsed. But you can see the advertisement. So you have, as the credit goes away, the prices of everything is going up. Seed prices are going up. Pesticide costs are going up. Water costs are going up. Electricity costs are going up. And the farmer's income is tanking. And the banks withdraw credit at this moment. And the suicides begin from 1995, 96, 97, and they're mounting each year. Most of the 10 years, it's an upward curve. This year, there may be 300, 400 less. Next year, there could be 300, 400 more. But you have then the peasantry descending into debt on a scale not seen post-independence. In 1991, 26% of all Indian peasant households were in debt. In 2001, 48.6%. In some states, like Andhra Pradesh, our mutual home state of Andhra Pradesh, 82% of all farm households are in debt. And if you keep the map of debt and the map of suicides, they sit very closely. Please know that, by the way, the United States Midwest has very high rates of farm suicides. In different countries, they get covered up for different reasons. Okay, in India, they get covered up to some extent for political reasons, but the data still come. In the United States, what happens is, insurance is a problem. So the family and others themselves try making it look like an accident. One of your farm leaders has put a posting on the net saying, he gets calls from his union members saying, John, I'm going to drive my Cherokee into the harvester, tell them it was an accident. Because otherwise his family will not get the insurance. It's a suicide. Then the insurance will be scrapped. But even without that, rural Oklahoma, our crisis now, you had in the 80s. Rural Oklahoma was showing 2.5 times the farm suicide rates of the rest of the United States. Minnesota has extremely high suicide rates in some of its farming areas. Small farming the world over is under assault and facing destruction and disintegration. Family farming. I found, for me it's very curious, only when I come to the US I use the word family farm, because in India every farm is a family farm. Because here you have to distinguish it from the corporate farm. Right? So you have that. And then you have subsidies. One of the biggest causes of the destruction of third world agriculture is the subsidies of the United States and the EU. In cotton, there have been years when your cotton value, the product of in 2004 or 2002, the total value of your cotton was 3 billion, value of your subsidy was 3.9. In 2005, value of your cotton was 3.9 billion, subsidy was 4.7. Okay? I mean, the subsidy is much higher than the value of your crop. So that tanks cotton prices all over the world. A Vidarbha farmer or a farmer of Burkina Faso, a farmer of Chad, Benin or Mali, those are the African cotton growing countries, they lose 70% of their income. In 2003, the presidents of Burkina Faso and Mali wrote a piece in the New York Times, July 11, 2003. Your subsidies are strangling our people. Saying, they point out that the 3.9 billion given in subsidies was more than the GDP of these countries at that time. That those countries make 70% of their export earnings from, 40% of their export earnings from cotton, in one case 70%. And just these subsidies destroy them. So this whole confluence of factors, this entire confluence of factors comes together. And from the late 90s or early 2000, I'm forced to cover what is increasingly, we had no idea of what was going on. We had no idea of the scale. We would hear of a suicide in one village and we'd go there and tell them, is it true that you had a suicide here last month? And they would look at us as if we were such, and say, what do you mean? We've had 9. We had 9 last month. Around 2000, we began to sense that something was happening on a scale we had never imagined was happening. That's when the investigations into the suicides began. That's how we were able to pin down the government to the figures. Just 2, 3 little things. One is, to give you a typical example, the kind of debt crisis, the kind of political crisis, the kind of situational crisis that the farmers find themselves in. India solves its power problems, electricity problems. We solve it very simply. We cut the electricity in the villages. Okay. So that the city can have 24 hours electricity, we cut it from the villages. Vidarbha, and then what we do is, so much of say Vidarbha region in Maharashtra, which is 1 hour's flight from Mumbai, it gets 17-hour, 15-hour power cuts in summer. So the children of Vidarbha are always going to do very badly in school because they don't have anything to study by. There's no lights, no nothing. And then we say merit and equal, and level playing field. After having denied that child the virtue of a bulb in the panchayat, in the local government office to study by. Then they make a list of exemptions during the power. Which institutions will get power even when power is cut? So police, army, hospitals, hospitals are pretty low down. Okay. The bureaucrats, all of them get their electricity. In 2005, I noticed a new exemption, and that became a story. A new center had been exempted from power cuts. Post-mortem centers, because they were wheeling them in at 1 every 8 hours. Post-mortem centers were exempted in 2005 by government order. An order to the effect that post-mortem centers would be spared, because the guys at the PMCs were saying that we can't handle this. We can't handle the load that's coming in. We've got bodies stacked up, all of them committing suicide, so they exempted them. Then, a farmer, as I said, don't disconnect farming from the rest of agriculture, from the rest of everything. Farmer is also a person who's got kids to go to school. If you commercialize education, the farmer takes a hit. Farmer has got people who need health access. If health access, India has the 5th most highly privatized health system in the world. If health access declines, farmer takes a hit. One of the most extraordinary suicide cases that my friend Narasimha Reddy of the newspaper called Eenadu. He and I landed up where a guy had been rescued from committing suicide by his friends, this farmer. The friends picked him up, put him on a bamboo stretcher and raced kilometers across the fields, then got a jeep, reached him to a hospital, saved his life. When we entered the hospital, he was abusing those friends. He was abusing them. Well, Popeye would have blushed. Okay? That's how he was abusing them. So, I asked him, man, these guys saved your lives. They saved your life. Look at what they've done for your family. Look at what they've done for you. They saved your life. He looked at me with complete disgust and said, you don't get it. He said, do you know why I tried committing suicide? I tried committing suicide because across 4.5 years, in 4 years, I ran up a debt of 100,000 rupees which I can never repay. He said, these assholes brought me to this hospital. In 4 days, I've run up a bill half of that debt. 49,000 rupees. What have they saddled me with? Then we went, as this started picking up, we found that more and more farmers committing suicide had created new systems of credit. One is called Khande Palat. Khande Palat means switching from shoulder to shoulder. So what do? They take a loan from one money lender, they take a loan from another money lender, they take a loan from a bank. They're taking from you to repay him, taking from her to repay her.